And welcome back to another week of The Take. I'm Bill Gannon, the host of this show. And just want to wish everybody a Happy New Year. Thanks for coming back. Missed you guys last show. Great job by Aaron and John to come in and do some football and stuff like that. Tonight we have a kind of a Christmas co-host. He came on. It's Mr. Yankee here. So we'd like
to people.
we'd like to welcome in Mr. Yankee to the show. And you want to wish everybody a Happy New Year?
Happy New Year and a Merry Christmas.
And a Merry Christmas. Wow. We have Mr. Yankee here tonight. So he's here to talk some fantasy football and what we had for Christmas, what we got for Christmas, and Hanukkah or wherever. I don't know your denomination there, Mr. Yankee. But we'll start off. What'd you get for Christmas?
Oh, I got lots of good stuff. And my kids got tons of stuff. They sure got spoiled.
They got spoiled this year? What'd they get?
They got spoiled really bad. They got everything they wanted. And then some. Especially sneakers and Call of Duty. And when I saw the Call of Duty, I said, what's that? You want to hear Call of Duty? Hi-ho!
That's the Call of Duty in your house?
That's right.
Yeah?
Yes.
What else did you get for Christmas?
Well, I got an iPhone, and I also got a kegerator.
You got a kegerator?
Heck yes.
That's not bad. What about, so your kids got the Call of Duty? They've been playing a lot?
They won't do nothing else.
That's it? They just sit there on the couch?
Nope, I said, boys, come over here. I want you to come up for breakfast. They're too busy playing all the time.
That's what happens. So you got to get them a different game.
That's right, they got football too.
Yeah. What, they got Madden?
Heck yes, they got Madden 15.
Did you play that with them?
And I'm real good too.
You're pretty good at that?
Of course.
Why are you so good at it?
Well, once in a while I used to practice out in the backyard with a Nerf.
You had the Nerf football, huh? Big time.
That's right.
That's not bad. How far could you throw the Nerf football?
Oh, 15 or 16 yards.
It's pretty good.
That's right, because my arm comes around like this. Hey!
Did you ever play any flag football?
Nope.
No.
But I wish that I did. I was kind of scared when I saw those boys out there running around pulling stuff.
That's true. They'd probably take off your hat.
And that's so.
I would say so.
Bill, you got the picture I have of my son?
No, we didn't get a chance to get that in there tonight. So.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
His name is Cornwallis, and he was born the morning after my wife made shepherd's pie.
Nice. Cornwallis. Yeah. Now, is that your only son?
Yep.
That's the one that plays Call of Duty?
He sure does. No, I have two. My other son was kind of illegitimate.
Oh, that's always happened. That happens sometimes.
But they're brothers now.
Yeah?
Heck yes.
Excellent. They get along?
Yes, real good.
And what about...
Like peas and carrots, or corn and peas.
Nice. Now, does your wife, what's her name?
My wife's name is Wilda.
Nice. That's it.
And I played fantasy football this year.
You did?
Heck yes.
Did you win anything?
I won the whole enchilada.
The whole thing?
Thanks to Odell Beckham Jr. Boy, can that guy play or what?
He can. He's got some good hands.
No, the best hands I've ever seen ever.
Ever?
Ever.
That's not bad.
Better than these.
Those are, yeah, he can catch more than a Nerf football.
That's right.
He can. Yeah, when he goes up there, he's pretty good. I thought that Dallas catch, It's one of the best ones I've ever seen.
Better than Lynn Swan.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's the only other one I could think of that was maybe better.
Well, they did have the giant where in the Super Bowl, the helmet grab, when he stuck it right against his helmet. That was a pretty good catch.
Yeah, that was the luckiest, but that was the best before this one.
Yeah, that was good. Then you have Franco Harris with the immaculate reception. So yeah,
that one doesn't count because we'll never know.
Well, it looked like it was a pretty good grab.
When did you see it?
Well, it was on I mean, I didn't see it live, but I saw the
But
replays.
nobody ever really saw it because when they put the camera down there, the ball wasn't in the picture. Remember?
Yeah, no,
Like
I do.
immaculate, no one ever really knows.
Well, that's what happens when you're Steelers and camera work is done like that. So you're saying it was a bad job?
What?
You think it was a bad job? So you think they were just wanted the Steelers to win, so they were giving it to the Steelers that time, or what do you think?
No, I think back then they didn't have instant replay, so a ball goes flying out of nowhere. Next thing you know, some guy reaches out and boom, he pulls it in. But did you really see it? Nope. They couldn't say yes or no, so they let him go.
So that's the way it goes, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's not bad. Now you're talking about Odell Beckham. Is that your favorite football team?
It is now.
That's your favorite team?
Heck yes.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. I thought you'd be a Browns fan.
That's pretty funny.
That is, huh?
Oh, God. Hey-ho!
Yeah. That's what I would think if you would have been a Browns fan. But you kind
I
of...
like the Browns. I like the Oilers and the Packers.
Well, the Oilers aren't around anymore, but,
But that was when I was little.
Yeah, they were. They were, now they're the Tennessee Titans, so you kind of switch from them because they're not the Oilers anymore.
They sure are.
Nope. What about the Niners?
They're pretty cool, but I'd like them if they were the 69ers instead.
I see how that goes. Yeah, no, that'd be a little hard name to kind of sell for the NFL, but yeah, I can see where you're going with that.
I hear you.
Yep. What about baseball? What is your favorite baseball team?
I don't really want to talk about that.
No, it's not in the season yet. You don't want to. What about basketball then? We're in basketball, whether it be college, maybe pro. What do you like?
I used to be a Mets fan.
The Mets.
Yep. Because I was born in 69.
That's it.
When everybody was eating couscous and soybeans.
That's what it is, huh?
Yep.
You're a big Mets fan? Yeah, that's not bad.
But I'll talk about that in the springtime.
Yeah, we'll go back to that in the springtime. What about basketball? What about any team that you're partial to in basketball?
I like the Lakers.
Like the Lakers?
Yes.
That's not bad. Big Lakers fan. Kobe. He just.
What do you like?
Kobe just. I like the Celtics. So we're kind of at those rivals in that side of the ball.
Remember when the Celtics had Pierce? That was the good old days.
Those were some good old days. I miss Pierce. And
Ray Allen.
I miss Ray Allen, and I miss
Even Rondo's
Kevin
gone now.
Garnett. Yeah, he's gone.
I guess I used to be a Celtics fan, but now I like teams that look like crap, like the Lakers.
But I don't know. They still got Kobe. I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
He's not that good anymore. He wants to retire. They're talking about retirement for him. He slid into third place, and now it's time to go.
He should probably retire right now, mid-season.
That's what it is. Yeah?
Beginning of the season.
Get him right out of there. That's a little different, though. I don't know. Unless he gets injured, I don't see him doing that. I think he's going to play out the rest of the season. I think he'll do all right. I'd like to see. I don't know how far he is away from Karl Malone, but I know he's close enough where he can probably get, right closer to Karl, or maybe surpass him as far as the numbers game there goes.
I was kind of upset when he broke Jordan's record. It kind of bothered me because I don't think he's as good as Jordan, and he models himself after him.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that, but you're a big Jordan fan? So you're a Bulls fan back then, too?
Nope.
Just Jordan?
Atlanta Hawks.
Like the Hawks,
That's
too.
when I like Dominique Wilkins.
Yeah, and the
And I used to like Daryl Dawkins and Chocolate Thunder.
I could see that, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Daryl Dawkins. I remember him. So.
He used to take the backboard and go, "Hi-ho!"
Break the backboards back down. That's what he would do. Yeah.
That's
All
right.
That's when
He used to break that thing.
That's exactly what he did. Now what? So since the holidays are up, and like we said, we were talking about basketball. What about college? Do you have a college basketball team that you're interested in?
Kind of like the UConn Huskies, and they're playing like I look right now.
I bet. Yeah, they are. They haven't really. They've lost to Yale, so they haven't done really as, up to par as where they need to be. But then again, last year they UConn seems like one of those teams that starts out slow, and then all of a sudden they come back and they win, and they do all these things that just kind of slowly gain momentum for the tournament. And Calhoun was noted for that, and I think Kevin Ollie's the same thing when it comes to that. They kind of build their program up and run what they want to run, and kind of figure out who their horses are going to be when it comes tournament time. So they kind of always start this way and then kind of pull into their own at the end of the season. So I'm hoping that goes that way too. UConn girls look good though.
Yes, they do, as always.
Yeah, no, I know they lost that first one, but then they came out and redeemed themselves. So they always take care of business when it's all said and done.
Well, Bill, I gotta get going.
You gotta go?
I'm really, really pooped.
Yeah, I thought you looked like you were.
And I gotta go real bad.
All right.
Well, I'm gonna go now.
We're gonna sign off with you then. Aaron should be stopping by soon, so he's gonna be back. And
I hope he does. But when you see that guy, tell him he's a turd burglar.
I will tell him that. I will make sure. I hope you sent him a postcard that said that too, or at least a Christmas card or something.
You promise?
Yep. But
tell him he's a turd burglar for me, and I'll talk to you later.
All right, that sounds good. So we're gonna say bye to our little co-host here, I guess, our holiday co-host. We'd like to thank you for coming on at least, and you take care. So
thank you.
You have a good night.
See you next year.
That's right. We'll see you next year.
Every time you hear the jingle bells, get ready, because I'm coming.
You're coming? All right.
That's right, everybody.
That's it. And as I wait for my co-host, Aaron, to come along, I'd like to talk about the NFL coming up. We got some weekend games coming up, and I'm kind of excited about what the games are going to be. My team's out of it, the Redskins, but we're going to get a good draft choice out of it. So that's going to be a good thing for us. I'd like to kind of hope that Dallas loses the first game to Detroit. Today, Ndamukong Suh, who ended up stepping on Aaron Rodgers, which kind of looked blatant to us. I know that he kind of took that first step back. I could forgive him for that one. But that second step that he had taken, it kind of went right on his calf. And knowing the guy had injured his leg prior to that, I think that's kind of a cheap shot. And since they had a cheap shot prior to that, I think that was one of those things that just, didn't need it in the game. I think he's noted for doing some kind of those things in the past, I'd say. And, I don't think he's a guy against like Aaron Rodgers. I think he's a great guy. He's kind of a role model for kids nowadays. I think that's the way it should be. We're going to be welcoming. Aaron just stopped in, so he's coming in now. So we'll get him here too, and he can come. Did you get to see Mr. Holiday over there? Who was that guy?
Mr. Yankee?
Mr. Yankee, yeah.
I haven't seen him in a long time.
That's
Holy
horrible.
Crap. No, but around the holidays, he floats around here sometimes. You see him spinning around.
That's right. He's always doing that little whirl.
That's right.
That's pretty crazy.
Did I hear you talking about Ndamukong Suh?
Yeah, his fine was lifted. I mean, he was fined more today. Instead of a $35,000 fine, he went to a $70,000 fine, but he can play against Dallas this weekend. And I think that helps Detroit a lot, because I think without him, they were going to have a hard time beating Dallas. I still think that Dallas is the better team going in. They're the hotter team right now, but I do think that Ndamukong Suh could cause some problems for Romo and kind of make Romo kind of step back to the old Romo where he starts throwing picks and make it a closer game than it should be.
He should be suspended more.
I think so too, because I thought it was blatant. It
was more than blatant, because how many times do you back up and you feel something behind you?
And you don't take that extra step back.
But for you to back up, not look back when you felt something,
yeah,
and then step down again, at least you look back and step down and fall.
Yeah.
That's what it was. When something touches the back of your foot, you automatically turn around or stop.
Yeah, if he had
took
fallen,
2 steps looking forward.
yeah, and he knew he was on
like
something with that first.
motorcycle.
Yeah. And he knew he was on, and the second leg came down. I didn't agree with it. I think that this is a dirty play, and he's a dirty player. He's
real
been known
dirty.
for that.
He's the dirtiest we
Yeah.
got. There's always one like that though in the league. There's always Conrad Dobler type, or sometimes I said Jack Lambert. If you go back, there's always somebody that plays dirty like that.
But the rules weren't as, I don't know. I guess the rules were a little different. They're more lenient back then. I know you had the head slap. You could do those. Those things weren't really banned yet. And the prior week, another Detroit guy had stepped on the Bears, one of the Bears players, and he was suspended.
I forgot which one it was.
Yeah, I don't know the player's name, but he had done it the week before. So it's kind of like, I know the Raiders used to be the bad boys back in the 80s, and nobody wanted to play them because they would come out with these different types of things and say, hey, they do a lot of dirty things too. But yeah, I think the things that are unseen or not seen, hey, it's part of the game. But when you do something as blatant as he did,
you just hear about people biting each other.
Oh yeah,
at the bottom of the pile.
The bottom of the pile,
poking eyes and stuff.
Yeah,
they still do that, but they only wait till there's a pile around them. Now you can't do anything because there's 20 cameras on you at all times.
Yeah, they have helmet cams and everything
everywhere.
else. You'll see the fingers coming right in there, and they'll probably, The
last thing I saw that was one of those like crazy ones was Bill Romanowski when he spit in Terrell Owens' face.
Yeah.
That was pretty bad, too.
That was, yeah.
Right in Monday Night Football.
That was.
Helmet to helmet.
He just
hawk a loogie.
Yeah. And he knew, that right away you knew what he did. You saw it, and there's no getting away from that. And I think some players don't care. I think they, want to set their tone or want to be that type of player, and hey, that's what I'm going to be. And
he was just so amped up on all kinds of stuff.
He really was.
In his book, he admitted doing like amphetamines and all kinds of uppers, and he wasn't just doing steroids. He was doing like embryos from like sheep or something. Like crazy stuff. Yeah.
They said he had a briefcase of like things he would take, and it would be like almost hourly. He would go in there and take something and do, just I had to take this at this time, and I had to take this at this time, and he almost had a laboratory of everything he needed. So it was like one of those things that was just. It's crazy to see when you heard about it later on.
You bump into him, you're going to get some kind of reaction.
Yeah. Romanowski's from Connecticut.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the craziest players that's ever been in the NFL is actually a Connecticut boy. So that's pretty crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
And he's been in some movies too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Benchwarmers was a good movie. You like that one?
Yeah, that was good.
Remember that? Beef stew.
So we also
beef stew is great.
Oh yeah.
I use that with my kids. Beef stew.
Beef stew.
Hey, did you ever eat beef stew?
We also have Arizona and Carolina. Who do you like there?
That's a tough one.
It is a tough one.
It's not tough because Carolina is going to be neutralized offensively, except they started to use one running back, real important, Jonathan Stewart, who, remember when he came out of Oregon, he was big time touted.
Yeah.
And he looked awesome. He looked the part, and he kept getting injured. Then for 2 years, and they got D'Angelo Williams in there.
Yep.
Then they shared the ball, and they both got hurt. You never got to see Jonathan Stewart really become what he's supposed to be. That's an X factor right there.
Yeah, well, to see, I mean, they have been coming on in the last couple of weeks, so that's one thing that we can look forward to is seeing, if he can play up to his potential. That will definitely give Carolina a little bit of the edge there, and I know that Arizona has a great defense, and they're going to have to live on that right now because with the quarterback situation, they're in trouble there. So offensively, they're going to need a running back, or Larry Fitzgerald's really going to have to step up in that type of offense. You're going to have to get him kind of like the Jerry Rice. You're just going to have to get him the ball in space and hope he makes some moves and gets into the end zone for you.
Even though now Floyd is the better, bigger, faster receiver down there.
Yeah.
But Ellington's hurt. They're down to their third running back. They're down to their third quarterback. They're in big trouble. Carolina's defense, though, we don't know if they're, that great because you've seen them. They're kind of mediocre. They got the really good middle linebacker.
Kuechly.
Yep.
Yeah. He was rookie of the year last year. Yeah. And he could.
That defense can come around against an offense sputtering like that.
Absolutely. Especially if you can put some pressure on that young quarterback and say, hey, we're going to blitz you and get his head out of the game early. it could cause some problems.
Arizona's got another young quarterback too. I can't remember his name because he's a fourth-string quarterback who might get a chance, but he's kind of a slash kind of player who can do the read option. He can also run the ball and he can also pass really well. But we haven't seen him yet. Do you remember his name?
I don't know who that one was, but I remember hearing his name the other day. That could cause problems, and I don't know if Arizona's.
Is it Evans?
I think it is Evans, yeah.
Right.
And I don't know if Arizona's doing that as kind of like kind of keep that under wraps right now.
Saying they're both going to get in.
Yeah, and they're just saying, hey, you have to prepare for both. Kind of get them out of one way or another.
Arizona's also got another X factor, John Brown, who is like a Percy Harvin kind of player, really fast, downfield kind of guy. They've got those kind of other receivers that we're not thinking about too. So they might have a shot to come up with an Arizona we haven't even seen yet this year because they're playing with bench players and guys who are rookies and stuff. So
no, it is. That's the one thing with Arizona. I think that they need somebody to find some leadership on the offensive side. I don't think it's going to be that quarterback. I think they need like maybe a Fitzgerald to step up that's been in the league and kind of rallies the troops behind him, and
that's their team leader on offense.
Yeah, they're going to need him right now to
And imagine if their defense is on all full cylinders. They're missing Dockett. They're missing they don't have Dansby anymore.
Yeah, I mean they lost some key people there, but they've still been playing up
high
there.
level.
Yeah, they have been. So
what about Seattle?
Seattle?
They're on a bye, but
they're on a bye.
Nobody's going to beat them this year.
Well,
they're playing home. That's what does it.
It is, but they've had some chinks in their armor, though. I mean, I'm not saying that they've actually come on in the last couple of weeks, and they're getting scary again. Where in the beginning of the year, I think the only team that really can cause them problems is Green Bay if Aaron Rodgers is okay. If Aaron Rodgers is going to be gimpy, I think then I'd have to give the edge there to Seattle, but we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, if they get there.
Yeah.
Well, Green Bay has a bye and Seattle has a bye.
They both have byes.
So Dallas is the one playing.
Dallas has to play. Yeah.
Dallas is the one that looks the flashiest right now.
Yeah.
So.
And Dallas beat Seattle already, but it's a lot different when you're playing up in Seattle. It's a totally different. It's you have the 12th man up there in Seattle, and
it's like going to New England this time of year.
Yeah.
There's such a big advantage with New England. And also even in Denver, these cold weather teams. If let's say Miami or San Diego does make it to the Super Bowl, or not the Super Bowl, but the playoffs, but they have to go through those places this time of year. It's a big advantage.
It is. It's tough. In Indianapolis, they have to. Who's Indy playing? Indy's playing Cincy.
Yeah, they got to start putting up some points.
Yeah, because Indy's been hurting lately. They started off. They came out of the gates really tough, and I was pretty impressed with how they were going. But the last few, probably since November, right after the Patriot game, they've had a lot of problems. They've been exposed in a few different places. So
which was perfect timing because guess who I played in the fantasy playoffs? Andrew Luck.
Did you really?
That one really bad game he put up.
Yep.
Against me. Because I won the championship, by the way, the whole thing.
This is the guy that won the championship right here.
That's right.
And you got a trophy for it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And this isn't your first trophy.
No.
No?
5 rings.
5 rings there.
Since 99.
That's not bad.
No, it's not bad at all.
And Beckham was your guy.
Oh, man. He's the one that won it for me. I
That's
picked him up
good.
off the waiver wire, spent some money on him.
Yeah.
Odell Beckham. Do you know that he's set records that nobody's ever done before, even Randy Moss, in 4 less games than Moss? And in a 12-game span, he scored more touchdowns than any player in NFL history.
And everybody thought...
Any player.
Everybody
Jim Brown,
thought that,
anybody.
Anybody? And everybody thought he came out of nowhere because everybody thought once Victor Cruz went down that was it. And then you kind of really saw him shine because he's been double-teamed at the end of the season.
They were banging him around like crazy.
Yeah.
Did you see that the game before? Was it the Redskins?
Yeah.
They were knocking him around. They were being dirty to him, hitting him out of bounds.
No, not the Redskins.
Oh yeah, it was the Skins, or was it Philly?
No, it was Philly. It was Philly.
Well, they were really all over Beckham. Everybody's getting tired of this guy running all over the NFL like this.
But it goes to show you that he's a tough kid.
He's that good.
He is that good. He is one of these guys that you're going to talk about later on in life. He's
after 2 games, you're like, this could be a freak. This could be something crazy. After 3 games, you're like, well, he really is good. After 4 games, is this going to keep up? 5 games, 6 games, he kept doing it. Multiple touchdowns. double-digit receptions all the time.
Because when they start getting film on you, that's when you have to worry. Because if you can perform when they get the film on you and they kind of see, hey, this is what this guy does best, we're going to take this away from him. You know, maybe he's like Jerry Rice lived on the slants, but you couldn't stop the guy from doing it. Never. He just.
Even though he wasn't the fastest, he was game quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can get by you. He broke out of that little. As soon as he had that break, he was already gone. And like you say, he wasn't the fastest.
And those hands weren't dropping anything.
No,
like
nothing.
Beckham.
And he just had a heart. You know, it was different because back then those guys played with heart, and I think that says a lot for. I think Beckham has that type of molded mentality that's there for him, that he can come out and just play like that.
He does a little dancing and stuff when he gets in the end zone, which is funny. But it's not like he's, you know, going crazy and yelling at his quarterback like on Dallas '88.
Des Bryant. Yeah, Des Bryant.
Bryant yells at everybody in the field when he's not catching the ball. That kind of
Yeah.
stuff. He doesn't have that diva mentality.
Has to be an ego maniac.
He doesn't dance any more than Victor Cruz, who's a quality player. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely prepared. The NFL's prepared for him, and he's still doing it.
Now, what do you think about the Giants keeping Coughlin?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, good move.
I don't think he's that bad. I never thought he was that good in the beginning, and then when he started winning the Super Bowls, his team seems to follow, and I think that's important. I know that everybody was saying both coaches in New York should have went, both Rex Ryan and Coughlin. Rex Ryan is now gone. I think he's meeting with ESPN, and we'll probably see him as an analyst for at least a year or two, unless he gets another head coaching job. Or maybe he'll, kind of go with maybe a defensive coordinator somewhere.
Yeah, he's got the flash for it.
Yeah,
he's good.
So,
but Coughlin, it's not his bad this year. You can tell the team will still play for him and react to him. He's not like a dysfunctional.
They just had that Victor Cruz hurt him big time.
They need the defense too, though.
And they just lost too much defense. They don't have that powerful
linebacker. They got Pierre Paul,
linebacker.
but he's missing his brothers on the line. Finuca's gone. Tuck is gone.
Yeah.
They got to just retool the defense again, and they'll lose a few games because of Eli, but they'll also win. They could win double-digit games because of Eli. So it's a defensive issue. The defensive coordinator, I don't know if that's the issue there, but it's not Coughlin.
Eli didn't have a lot of targets though after Victor Cruz went down. I think in the beginning of the year they were trying to bring Beckham in. They kind of gave him that was one thing Victor Cruz gave to him, was kind of let him kind of shine without
or open up the offense
deep. And that's what they just missed out.
If they do start keying more on Beckham, and Cruz is going to be back next year, that's going to open up the running game big time. And Jennings is a solid running back. So is Williams.
Yeah.
So
and they had problems with their line because they had the Snead retired right before the season, which that was a surprise. I think that he kind of hurt them because he was their best lineman at the time. So you kind of lose a quality lineman, and it's hard to replace, especially if you can't draft it. I think he had all intentions of playing, and he is Coughlin's son-in-law. So it was one of those things. I think that he didn't want to sandbag him or anything like that. It wasn't any intention there. I just think the game got the best of him at that point. So.
That's right. He didn't want to ball bag him or sandbag him.
All that stuff.
You know what? I got to correct something that we said a few weeks ago. Adrian Peterson was released by the Vikings.
Yeah.
He's still a Viking.
He is still a Viking.
Yeah. It was Rice that got released.
That's what it was.
Yeah. I double checked. I was dumbfounded. I couldn't argue with you guys because I had to check it.
Yeah. Well, the thing about and I guess somebody said that they want him as a Viking next year.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're going to keep him and they're going to run with him. So
the other guy who's probably not going to be with his team next year is Josh Gordon.
Yes. Who
a year ago, he was the Beckham of the league. Did you see the yardage he put up in that short amount of time with suspensions and everything? He came out.
And not the greatest quarterbacks either. 200
yards. It was just like Beckham was doing.
Yeah.
And he's a big body receiver who's got all the talent in the world. It was insane to see him throw it away like that. And now missing meetings and stuff. He didn't even get to accrue a full season when all he needed was one more game.
Yeah.
That he got benched for.
Yeah.
So that they can dock him for that. And now he can't even be a free agent because of missing one meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand the mentality of these guys who have everything given to them on a silver platter, making millions of dollars. Most of the NFL, they got a family and they're providing for people and they're serious about what they do.
Right.
These guys that joke it and throw it away. Even Manziel, he missed the same meeting. Oh, he had an injury now, so I guess it doesn't matter. But he was probably out with Gordon that night.
Well, they had the party. Manziel threw the party.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he threw the party, and a bunch of guys didn't show up. And I think as a quarterback, and you played the position, and you know that you need to be the leader not only on the field, but a lot of times off the field as well.
Which I screwed up too, by the way, off the field. Sorry, I'm no Gordon.
But you'd say that.
I was being a designated driver.
Yeah.
Being at the wrong place at the wrong time. You're wearing a football jacket. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. And that's a good example for kids, you know, just thinking that, you know, how those little things could end up being, you know, detrimental to anything you're trying to accomplish later on. And, you know, if you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Like Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
But not as serious.
No, that was pretty bad.
No. And we still don't really know.
Nobody knows.
No.
That's almost like the Frank O'Hara's fault. Hey, Frank O'Hara's
That was the
fault.
immaculate stabbing. We won't know who did it.
We won't.
I think Ray probably didn't do it, but he doesn't want to tell on people. He didn't want to give up his boys.
He's got that old Miami football mentality.
That's what that was.
All the thugs and everything.
Still, wrong place, wrong time. You got to have better association and better responsibility when you get all this stuff given to you like that, especially when so many people are looking up to you, like millions of people. We're not talking about a town. We're talking about countries.
Right.
You know?
No, it is true. I mean, that's exactly what all these guys are, you know, they're out there. And that's the one thing my brother-in-law Pete always says. He always tells the kids, you know, he said, it's never the good people are going to pull you down, but it only takes one bad person to pull you down. And that's the truth of the whole thing is like you have to kind of figure out who you're going. And I know it's fun. And, you know, as long as you keep things that are kind of, I guess, good-natured and never really going to be harmful to anybody, I think you're okay with it. But sometimes that just, you know, you get with the wrong crowd, like you say, and you end up doing something, and it really could put a pretty bad mark on your life. So that's one thing that you got.
How about Claret? Remember him from Ohio State?
Maurice Claret?
Look what he was doing.
Yeah.
He was drinking at practice in Denver.
Yep.
And somebody was seeing him with like vodka in the locker room. He's like, I got to get my goose on before practice. He was saying that to the vets. You know, a year later, he's in an alleyway stealing TVs or something, getting busted while he's still under contract.
And then he got another shot with the Dolphins, I believe. He went back because he went to prison for like a year, and they took him, and then he got caught stealing again. So he almost had two options. You know, he got that second chance, and he still blew it the second time around. And I don't know if that's just a mentality because he grew up in that type of, you know, environment, and I don't know.
How about Ryan Leaf? Same thing.
One. Yeah.
He was coaching somewhere, and you know, you hear he's doing better. He's a coach again or whatever. Plus, he had his comebacks in the NFL. Actually, pulled out a good year one year.
Yeah.
But he was supposed to be Peyton Manning. They had to weigh up Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf evenly that year for the draft.
Right.
And then I'm a Charger fan, so Ryan Leaf. This is actually the kind of jerseys they were wearing
back then.
But next thing you know, now he's getting busted, crawling in and out of windows, looking for money for. He's on painkillers or something, or he's OxyContins and
all that stuff.
Oh boy.
And he's a big guy. He's not like
that's 6'6".
Yeah, it's not like Doug Flutie trying to jump into
it. No. Now he's in jail, and then if you look up Ryan Leaf on images of Ryan Leaf, you'll see him.
Oh, the police blotter pictures, and you'll see him in court with his orange jumpsuit,
looking like a raccoon with bags under his eyes.
And
it could happen to all these guys.
It's sad. It really is, and even Matt Leinart, who really didn't have any brushes with the law.
Yeah, don't bring him up in this. We'll talk about bust.
He's just a bust. He's not. Yeah, he didn't get busted.
He's living the high life.
Yeah.
But and he wishes he could be back in college, like the commercial. But yeah, there was a bust, and that's a good thing. Let's talk about those guys for a little while.
Yeah, we could talk
Achilles
about it. We really haven't. I mean, Brian
Couch.
Bosworth. I think Bosworth set himself up the best though, because he actually had bad shoulders coming out of Oklahoma, and he went to the Lloyd's of London, and actually. He insured himself on both shoulders, and he ruined both shoulders. Technically they were both shot. So
yeah, and then Bo Jackson hit him so hard he knocked both of them out at the same time.
I think so. And then ran through the tunnel in Seattle. Remember that? He just went right down the.
I love those videos. Not of just that, but all number 34s. If you ever want to look up great running backs, look up Herschel Walker, Earl Campbell,
Walter Payton.
Oh, Payton, the 34s. That's a lotto number I use all the time. You should try it.
You ever win with it?
Bo Jackson. No, but I'm going to keep going with it.
Yeah.
Because those running backs right there, you look up videos of them. You want to show your kids how to play hard, run hard. The best of all time, that number 34. It's
absolutely.
funny. Way beyond other running backs.
And it's funny because the 34s they were just hard-nosed guys, too. Like, Walter Payton wasn't the biggest guy. He was probably the smallest out of all those guys, but he still ran hard.
He would run people right over.
And he would put that, that forearm out there and just
hold
knock
the ball like a loaf of bread. Don't do that.
No, but Walter Payton could.
He could get away with it. He had massive hands.
Yeah.
And he runs hills. Look how Walter Payton used to run the hills.
His workouts were unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then check out Herschel Walker, too. He used to...
2,000 sit-ups, 2,000 sit-ups and 1,000 push-ups.
And 1,000 of each every day.
Every day.
And he used to race trains.
Yeah.
Like they're slow trains, but he used to try to outrun the trains
when
he was a little chubby kid, and he used to get made fun of. He claims he eats soup and salad once a day, and that's it.
That's all he eats. Yeah.
That can't be true.
He only eats one meal a day. I don't know how he stays that big eating that.
No, soup and salad?
That doesn't make sense, because I mean...
Maybe it was like pigtail soup or something, or oxtail.
I don't know what he's eating.
Beef stew.
It just doesn't seem like... It just doesn't make sense that he could not have... I don't know, keep all that muscle without, because your muscle's going to burn.
Have you seen him now in his 50s?
Well, he wrestles now in the MMA.
UFC.
Yeah.
He's still built like a bulldog.
He almost looks like he can come back. But I have to say, I met, just going back probably about 6 years ago, but I met Mark Bavaro at a camp, Eric Mangini's camp, with my kids.
Yeah.
And I have to say, that guy looked like he could go out and play the next
Incredible
day.
still.
Yeah. He was just all, jacked up.
Rambo.
Huge.
They just call him Rambo.
Yeah. He hates that name, by the way.
I believe it.
Yeah.
That's a Stallone reference, but his body's better than Stallone.
Yeah. He never liked Rambo. But his father was poor, I guess. And I remember reading an article about Bavaro. And his father used to take home the street covers, the manhole covers.
Yeah.
And he used to bore out a hole. And they're like 100 pounds apiece. He always wanted a weight set. So I guess he said, Dad, can I get a weight set? So they bought a bar at a tag sale, and his dad got the two because he used to work for Public Works, brought two of those home and just said, work with these. So imagine the first time you had to lift 200 pounds.
Plus the 45-pound dumbbell.
Yeah, the barbell, yeah. So, I mean, he was larger.
Bar.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But, yeah, no, that's pretty...
Herschel used to also do ballet.
Herschel
he used to actually take ballet classes for all those, balancing and coming through small areas and getting down the sidelines and stuff.
Yeah. Well, the thing I like about all these guys is they always had somebody to look up to, somebody that actually brought them along the way. Herschel Walker had a great coach that actually took him under his wings and said, hey, we can do something special with you. He actually said that whatever he told Herschel, he always did. It was always something that he was going to accomplish, and he never gave up on that. And I think that's important. I think it's important for somebody to kind of latch on to somebody who can show them something outside of their own, maybe see something in themselves that they don't quite see yet, and I think that's important. So, you coach and you see kids and you can say, hey, I can bring this out of you and I can get you to this next level, and that's important for kids to see. So.
It's real important. And then Bo Jackson, who was actually not a troublemaker, but he was going down the wrong path a little when he was young.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear the story about him? He was throwing rocks at the neighbors, the farmers' pigs, trying to kill him.
No.
And I guess he killed a pig, and the farmer called up his mother, and he got in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But she was actually mad at him for not getting the pig to eat it, instead of wasting all that food.
Yeah.
The other thing was he was throwing rocks at kids out in the neighborhood. And the kids thought they were going to run away.
Yeah.
And they ran into the house. He threw it right through the screen door. There's the Bo Jackson stories, if you look them up. They're great. I think ESPN had a 30 for 30 on him.
Okay.
Boy, was it good.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's similar to, to Herschel Walker and stuff as far as, his childhood and then his high schools and college years. All those shows are great.
Yeah.
Even go back to Eric Dickerson, Marcus Dupree. There's so many good ones. But watching Bo Jackson, even going into another sport, I think he's definitely the best athlete of all time.
The two sport.
It's hard to say, but
yeah.
To really see what he did and get injured so young, I've never seen anything like it.
I know Dion claims, but I don't think Dion had
Wasn't as good at baseball.
No, baseball he was definitely. Football you can make an argument for
speed and for all around a great athlete. Deion's, there's so many of them.
Yeah.
We could just argue all day about who is the best football player we've ever seen.
Right.
Because now there's dozens of them to put into the talk. You can't say it's just Jim Brown.
Yeah.
There's other guys that bring into it, and Jim Brown could still be the best. Because boy, was he something else.
No, absolutely, and I think
but
that's
for both
important.
sports,
I really have to say Bo because I just remember that.
Climbing
center
up the
field.
wall,
yeah,
and
just
throwing the ball from the wall,
yeah.
throwing people out at home plate with his back going backwards.
And the one thing I always liked about him is how he cracked the bat over his leg.
He's the only guy that's ever hit a home run and scored a touchdown in the same week.
Day.
Doing the sports at the same time. Never mind two sports during the year. You know, or making an All-Star game and a Pro Bowl in the same year.
But I know Deion played 2 games in 2 pro sports in 1 game. He played with the Atlanta Falcons and then they went to the Braves that night. So I know he did that, but like you said, it wasn't.
He did it for flashes to put his tag on it.
He was labeling himself as
great at stealing bases. You know.
Well, he was fast.
And there's Michael Jordan. He took a stint in baseball too, and but throw him out there at tight end in football. He's about that size,
Yeah.
Or a Calvin Johnson kind of player, but could he do that? I don't know.
Well, they say Tony Gonzalez could have done a lot of that too. He could have played basketball. He could have played baseball, but we only saw him play tight end. So,
speaking of tight ends, who's the best of all time?
Ozzie Newsome.
Kellen Winslow.
Kellen Winslow.
I think so. No, Gonzalez is the best numbers-wise. But it's pretty funny. All of a sudden, guys like Antonio Gates are putting up. He broke all Kellen's records. Now Gronkowski's going to places we've never seen if he keeps playing. As far as the connection between him and his quarterback.
But the only thing is, it's a different game nowadays. Back then, it was more of a running game. You had 14-game seasons. It was totally different.
You could grab receivers and hold them.
Yeah.
And so, hit them downfield a little bit. And
now it's more of an offensive game. I mean, look at the defensive. If you put Ronnie Lott in this defense right now, he would have to let go because he'd probably be suspended half the games because he was taking shots at people.
He'd be out half the year on suspension with those hits.
So
and guys like Tannehill are putting up 4,000 yards now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's not good and he's getting more accurate as he gets older, but there was only one Miami quarterback on that list for all those years, and until they changed the rules, and now Tannehill's finally hit the 4,000 mark.
Yeah, I mean, because that was kind of like the holy grail. I think Dan Fouts was the first one to ever do it. And then Marino did it a couple seasons. And then
made Fouts look like a mediocre guy.
Yeah, no, but that was just...
Marino was incredible. That's my favorite quarterback of all time is Marino.
Yeah. I mean, I love Dan. I think Peyton's starting to take over, and I really like Aaron Rodgers now. I think Aaron Rodgers is really kind of... I don't know. There's just something about him. He's gutsy. A couple weeks ago, I saw him when they stepped on his hand, and his hand's bleeding. And he's out, getting it washed out, taped up, and he's right out there.
Yeah, he's
with
high
his team.
quality.
Yeah,
he's got the accuracy of Manning, but he still has legs. He can take off and gain a lot of yardage, like Steve Young kind of stuff.
He reminds me of Steve Young, a lot like Steve Young, and that's exactly who I think of because I think Steve had that type of mentality too. It was just win at all costs, and I'm going to find a way, whether I'm going to beat you with my arms or my legs or my mind. That's how he's going to beat you.
And he's as cool as they come.
He really is.
Like Montana.
Yeah.
And he's a nice person. He's friendly. He's a funny guy. He's got a lot of commercials and stuff. So you think you know him as a person. But it's funny, too, watching him on draft day when he was in the green room waiting. Till the 26th, 28th pick, something like that.
Yeah.
It was like, wow. And then Alex Smith got picked number, was it 1 overall or in the first?
I think it was top 5, but I know he went first.
And once he went, all these teams came by that didn't need a quarterback, per se.
But you imagine,
and everybody thought Rodgers was a product of the Cal offense. Like the way that they ran their offense in the spread. It was the system, not the quarterback.
Well, that's like Rex Grossman. When you saw Rex Grossman as
Florida?
In Florida, he was unbelievable. You thought, wow, this guy is going to be something.
Yeah.
And he kind of explained it later on. He had said that, well, Spurrier would send in the play and say, hit the tight end here. We got to hit the tight end. He's going to be wide open. So he would drop back, and he didn't really read. He said he really didn't know how to read until they
put it there.
Yeah, just throw it to the tight end.
Back foot.
And the difference between college and pro is, guys 5 yards open as opposed to he's right on your hip. So there is differences that there's a lot of things that change when you get to the NFL and the speed of the game and all that you have to make adjustments to. So I think that's big. And Rodgers had, the luxury of sitting behind Favre for a couple of years and kind of learning the game,
learning
the whole
mistakes
system,
more than anything.
Everything.
He saw those picks more than anything.
Yeah.
Isn't that a crazy stat? Hasn't thrown an interception at home since last December.
And he almost had one the other day. Because talking about Sue again, he almost had that one the other day. He just happened to toss it up or whatever. He wanted to get rid of it, and it almost dropped right into his hands. And he kind of turned back and looked at him. And I was kind of glad that he didn't get it after he stepped on him a little later. I was like, I was happy that he didn't, wind up with that. So that's good.
None of the quarterbacks are looking more human this year, like Drew Brees.
Yeah.
He's up there with those other two we're talking about, but now he's starting to. Every other game is a hit or miss this year for him.
Yeah.
I think he'll have a comeback next year.
I think he's going to be good next year. I think he's going to come back. I think they're going to add some pieces. They've had some injuries. They've had some younger guys.
Older.
Yeah, they've had
Ram is screwed up. Something's wrong with him. The shoulder is. They're not admitting.
I still think Ram is mad about the pay. I think he's not playing up to speed because he came out of that whole contract dispute in the beginning of the year, and he's not happy. So I think that's been a big issue down there.
I think he's playing with that shoulder that's in the harness.
Yeah.
And with those guys, they're so good at going up and getting the ball, like in basketball and boxing out people.
Yeah.
You need two arms for that.
You do. And I think Darren Sproles leaving was a big. I think it impacted them a lot more because Ingram's a better runner, but Sproles is better coming out of the backfield. And for their offense style, I think that's more important that they have anywhere. Him than anything.
Sproles was an ace in the hole. You could put him anywhere you want.
You could line up anywhere. He was great.
Now you got Pierre Thomas taking that role. We're taking it back because he was there first, but Sproles, I know as being a Charger fan, what they lost in San Diego and how that was missing, how he opened up so much for the tight end and for the receivers having a Sproles. He's a real special player.
No, he really is. I've always liked him. I always
he even made LaShawn McCoy, like, in the beginning of the year, where's McCoy? Where's McCoy? It was Sproles.
Yeah.
All those receptions. McCoy was getting one catch a game after that. And then Sproles was hurt for a while. Then McCoy came back around. But
it went to show you all that stuff that you can bounce back and you can come back from certain things. And I think he's a special player, like you said, one of those guys that you say, I can get rid of him, but in essence, it really hurts your team. I think a lot of these teams, I think we look at the Giants and getting rid of Tuck and, those end pieces. You have Pierre-Paul, but now you can move away from him because you don't have the guy on the other side. So there's a lot of things that come into play in teams.
They could use a scat back, too, a real fast, smaller running back.
Somebody to help Eli when he's in trouble because he's not as fleet as foot and he can't get away. So when you're looking at that, you have those quarterbacks that are pocket, players and they can't scramble or can't kind of get out of the way.
Plus Eli always has that dumb look on his face and nobody can help him with that.
Nobody can help him with that. But Peyton always seems like he gets I don't know, Peyton, I know he's not as fleet as foot as all the quarterbacks either, but
or
Brady,
Eli.
Brady and Peyton, they seem like they could just buy time. They slide a little bit, just slide over just enough to get, over.
Or jump up in the pocket of like Rivers. He's always hop, 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 hopping like a little bunny. He hops up into the
The thing about Rivers,
I don't know how he gets out of trouble because his pocket collapses around him like a tidal wave, and he just hops up and then pushes the ball. And I still don't understand that throwing style. It looks so wrong every time he throws the ball, thousands of times over.
It almost reminds me of Bernie Kosar. Some of his throws. He throws that sidearm, I don't know, that release that he does.
Squeezes it out. It's like,
but it gets there.
It gets right in there, and it comes in nice and easy to catch.
It gets
funny.
there, I don't know.
Gates. That's the most ever quarterback to tight end combo now of all time. It gets there.
Gates is a big boy though. That's a heck of a target. So.
Yeah, all those tight ends are now.
Yeah, they're all getting big.
Everybody's got a really good one. Even on the Patriots, like Tim Wright, he was an All-Pro tight end in Tampa Bay one year. I mean, he was that good. Everybody forgot because he had that one great season. Then you don't hear about him again.
Yeah, that's tough though because that's what they do. They come in and they have a great year and a great season and that's what happens. So you look at things and you say, well, these are the pieces we need, and a lot of teams are going to be looking come. In April, what do we need? And tight end's always one of those big things. I think tackles. I think Dallas has done a great job in the last couple of years. They've got 2 tackles and a guard, and I think now you see that they're all protecting
That line,
Romo. Yeah.
that's the best line in the NFL.
Yeah.
Bar none right now.
It really is. And I think
that's as dominant as Seattle would be at home with their defense.
Yeah.
So if Dallas ends up going to Seattle, they'll have a chance, but you're going to have that funny feeling like that year they went to Seattle with Hasselbeck was there and Romo had that slippery-looking ball. It looked like someone greased it up with salad dressing.
Yeah.
And it scored it out on the extra point. Was that a field goal or an extra point?
Yeah. And they just missed it.
What a heartbreaker that was for Romo.
Then he tried to run it in, and he just missed it by about 2 feet and running it in. So it's tough. But Romo always seems like somewhere in the playoffs or somewhere right before the playoffs. I know December has been pretty good for him this year. He's always had that kind of black cloud over him when it came to December and he couldn't play and all this. But he's done all right. And, where he's going to take it from here, I don't know. I know the other day watching, because they played the Redskins in the last game, and the game was kind of still up in the air, and he threw another pick. Granted, RG3 came out 3 plays later and threw another pick and kind of saved him. But is that the Romo, if you put pressure on him, is he going to come out and make the big mistake?
You don't know. This year, though, I had him as my fantasy quarterback.
Okay.
So I get to watch him, I see him religiously every week. Romo. I had Russell Wilson, so I had to pick the matchup. But most of the matchups were more for Romo because Wilson's going to manage the game and run and get a couple touchdowns. Romo's going to throw 3 or 4 touchdowns because he has the receivers.
Right.
But I've watched him this year. He's been way more Jekyll, than Mr. Hyde, better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're getting your 3 touchdown games instead of your 3 interception games. There's only been a couple bad games this year for Romo. He helped me win. Bottom line.
Well, I think he's got the Marco Murray.
He's the top 5 quarterback
next
year.
He really hasn't done the wrong thing. I think he checks down. I think he's thrown balls away this year, which in prior years he's kind of had that Brett Favre where I'm just going to throw it in there. And
having that running game, though.
Yeah.
He's not as much of a gunslinger as Favre with that confidence. That's way too much.
No.
He was just making those.
Favre was probably the most I've ever seen a guy throw into crowded areas.
He was like Rex Grossman, only he got to play for 20 years.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Or Grossman just got to throw off his back foot for 3 years and got thrown off of every team. And back up. But Romo, he's not doing it anymore as far as making boneheaded decisions. And there's always there because even Manning's going to throw 3 bad picks like last week.
Oh, yeah.
But Romo, he's not doing it anymore, so he's good.
No, he's good.
He's up in that conversation now. He ended up, numbers-wise, looking as good as Drew Brees, even though Brees went on a downswing, but Romo was on. So now they've met around the number 4 or 5 area in the NFL,
And like you say, it's a lot easier when you're not on your back or getting rushed, and they have one of the better lines. I mean, looking at
the best.
Yeah.
And that running game.
I think only Dallas is when they made the Super Bowl run had a better line, and that's going back to Dallas. And I think that's kind of a formula that people may have to start looking at.
Earlier this week, I was kind of picturing a Super Bowl, that's one for the ages with Dallas meeting Pittsburgh again, like the good old Super Bowls, except the one back in the '90s where Dallas just rolled them. But Pittsburgh was really starting to peak at the right time with their running game and their great receivers. They got 2 great rookies. Not rookies, Wheaton's a second year, but Martavis Bryant, he's an awesome receiver. And they got Antonio Brown. You just saw them the other night, with his kick return and his long touchdown.
Yeah.
But Le'Veon Bell got hurt. So now I don't know about Pittsburgh winning in New England or winning in Denver now because of that.
Right.
Same thing with Dallas. They got to get through that. If they get there, Seattle. Seattle's definitely has the biggest advantage in the NFL as far as a home field advantage. There's nothing else like it.
Well, the only thing is I don't know who plays. It'd be tough to play in Lambeau if there's a lot of elements. If it's cold, if it's snow, I think that could cause some problems for some people,
That's
too.
That's exactly the same thing. You got Seattle and Green Bay. You got New England and Denver. But it seems to be you have to go through one of these places every year, not just this year.
Right.
It's either the snow, the ice, or the crowd that's going to help their team dominate.
Yeah. Now, just to say, who do you like winning it all? If we're going to call it out right now, who's your team? AFC, NFC. Who's in the Super Bowl?
In the Super Bowl is easy. Who's going to win the Super Bowl is the hard part.
Well, we won't pick that yet till the week before the Super Bowl, but we'll say right now, who are we putting in? AFC team, NFC team, who do you like going in?
I think it's the obvious picks, which I don't usually like to. I always like I said, I was just talking about Dallas and Pittsburgh. That's my dream Super Bowl. But I see New England and Seattle. And then if they play each other, it's not going to be like it was last year where, you can't say Seattle was going to beat Peyton Manning in Denver. Nobody saw that coming.
Right.
It was a mistake, and then the game was from there just steamrolled the other way.
Well, that shows you the emotions that go into the game,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, one mistake just blew the whole thing apart.
It showed Peyton Manning going under center, and he's yelling Omaha. And he goes, "Oh my God!" and the ball went right by him.
Right by him. Yeah. And that's exactly So
but I could not tell you who could win a game on neutral ground between Seattle and New England right now, because with all the hype and then the build-up and preparing for each other, that's a coin flip right there.
It is. The only thing is, I think Seattle has the bigger defensive backs that could cover Gronkowski.
Oh, absolutely.
They have some big body guys over there
They
that
even punish him a little.
Yeah. I think
Chancellor
that's
back
more.
there.
That's the one thing I think that they're more geared up for, as far as covering.
They can neutralize them.
Yeah.
But New England's defense is just good enough, especially if they can neutralize Wilson a little bit. They got to stop Lynch too. But there's no major weapons in Seattle. Once they got rid of Harvin, he was the X factor from the Super Bowl last year too.
He was.
I was waiting for him. I knew he was healthy, and nobody was talking about. Oh, by the way, Harvin came back at the end of the year, but he wasn't quite ready.
He was
now
not.
He had 2 weeks to get ready. He was the X factor, and it was those reverses, those runs, those little dump off passes, and he broke a kickoff back.
Oh yeah.
That's what absolutely broke the game over, was having a Percy Harvin. Seattle doesn't have that anymore.
No.
Doug Baldwin, he's not. It's not there. They've got Baldwin. They've got Luke something Wilson. I don't know what his name is, but they got unknown players. I can't even think of who they are. And I was watching Russell Wilson all year, and I still can't name their receiving
like you
core.
say, other than the running back and the quarterback, you don't know on offense who anybody is, and that's just it. You're kind of getting those little moments with them, and it's like tough. It's like you see them and you don't know. But I want to see Aaron Rodgers against Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl, so I'm going to go with Denver.
That's the nice matchup. That's the fan-friendly matchup, and the faces of the NFL meeting each other.
Yeah. I think that would be a good
two class
Super Bowl.
guys.
Plus, you get Green Bay back in there. I know that they've won a few times with Brett Favre, and they won a few times since. But they were in the first Super Bowl. We're coming up on the later Super Bowls. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see Aaron Rodgers get another one.
Rodgers has some weapons.
He's got the weapons. He does.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
And I would just like to see
Manning.
Like to see Peyton Manning get one more before he leaves, just to get that second one. That would be
Would you retire if you were him, if he just happened to get that?
If he won the next one, I think he leaves.
You think so?
Yeah.
This year?
He's got the 500 touchdowns and all that stuff. He's up there, so he's got everything.
He's not going to really do the Elway thing and win 2 in a row, then leave.
No.
No, that's too hard. It's in Peyton.
It's gonna be too.
You can see him weakening down the stretch, or he might be playing a game with everybody too. All of a sudden, the last 4 or 5 weeks, they've been a running team.
Yeah.
Major running team, and then he's thrown a 2 interception game, was it 3 or 4 interceptions in one game? Really bad game.
Really bad game. Yeah. 2 pick sixes.
Even this last game, it was C.J. Anderson 3 touchdowns. It's almost like he doesn't even want to show what's coming in the playoffs. He's saving
It's almost like he's saving his arm too.
Yeah.
They're not using him for everything.
You can have film from what I was doing back in week 8. You're not going to see anything special from the last half of the season.
That's it.
He's smart enough to do that, and talk the coaches into doing it too.
Hey, we're not going to get the number 1, so let's just kind of go into this and we'll try something different. Let's see if we can get that running game going. So that's an extra
and little thing. And if he gets to play Seattle again too.
Oh, that'd be
great.
Would
he love that?
Oh, he would definitely. This time I wouldn't bet against him.
There won't be any mistakes. There won't be a backup center in there.
No.
They'll be totally
different.
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe if that all plays out again and it works out the same way.
Oh.
And they get some new nervous rookie center.
Well, we'd like to wish everybody a Happy New Year. We'd like to thank our guest before, Mr. Yankee, who took your spot.
I wish I was here with him.
I know. Well, we didn't do that, but...
He is kind of mean, though.
He is mean.
Yeah.
He has some pretty nasty things to say. But
he didn't say anything about me, did he? All right.
But if you guys we're gonna have a great year this year. So if you have any questions, comments, WilliamJGannon.com, WilliamJGannon.com. Go on there and get in touch with me. My co-host tonight, Aaron Simmons. We're missing John Spinano. He's sick, but he'll be back with us pretty soon. Everybody have a great New Year, and we'll see you next week.
Happy New Year!